The rain-slicked windshield shattered like my illusions the second his fist connected, shards exploding inward as blood trickled warm down my temple. You think this is some kind of joke, Isaiah? Some fairy tale bullshit you're peddling on that app? Miles roared, his voice cracking like thunder over the empty Nebraska highway, the truck veering wildly as his rage hijacked the wheel. I clutched the dashboard, heart slamming against my ribs, tasting copper and betrayal, wondering if this road trip I dreamed up as a fresh start would end in a ditch with my secrets spilled like the glass now crunching under my sneakers. We'd only been driving for 3 days, but in that frozen instant, tires screeching, lightning forking the sky, I saw it all unravel. The easy laughs over greasy diner burgers, the playlists we'd argued over like old friends, the way his calloused hand had brushed mine when passing the coffee thermos. It wasn't just a misunderstanding. It was the spark that ignited everything I'd buried, forcing us both to confront the chasm between who we pretended to be and who we really were. My name's Isaiah Harper, and back in May of that godforsaken year, I was 28, freshly divorced from a life that never fit. Not from a woman, hell, I'd never gone that route, but from the suffocating script of small-town Ohio expectations. Dad's hardware store, Mom's church potlucks, the endless parade of, when you gonna settle down with a nice girl? Questions that left me choking on pot roast. I'd come out at 22, in a tear-streaked confession over lukewarm beer in our garage, and while they hugged me tight and said they loved me anyway, the air shifted after that. Subtle things. The averted eyes at family dinners, the prayers that felt like pleas for me to change. So I packed my beat-up Subaru and fled west, chasing the myth of reinvention in California's endless sun. But the car died on me outside Cleveland, radiator steaming like my regrets, and that's when I fired up the app for a long-haul driver. Enter Miles Callahan, ex-Marine from Tulsa, with a profile pic grinning under a Broncos cap and a bio that screamed straight arrow reliability. Haul your ass cross-country. No drama, cash up front. He pulled up in his '98 Ford F-150, rust-kissed and roaring like a beast ready for the hunt. Tall, built like he could bench press a Harley, with hazel eyes that crinkled when he smirked and a jaw shadowed by perpetual 5 o'clock scruff. Isaiah, right? Hop in, partner. We're burnin' daylight. His drawl was pure Oklahoma oilfield twang, warm as fresh cornbread, and I felt an stupid flutter in my chest that I immediately blamed on nerves. Straight guy, I reminded myself. Just a ride. But as we merged onto I-70, the miles unspooling like a therapy session on wheels, it was hard not to notice how his laugh lines deepened when I cracked wise about his country playlist. Reba McEntire on repeat, for Christ's sake, or how he drummed the wheel to match my indie folk mixes, pretending not to hate Bon Iver. The first leg was magic, the kind of road trip alchemy that turns strangers into confidants. We blasted through cornfields that stretched to infinity, stopping at roadside stands for peach pie that dripped down our chins. Miles spun yarns about his tours in Afghanistan, the buddies he'd lost to IEDs, the way the desert sand still haunted his dreams. You ever feel like you're running from ghosts, Isaiah? He'd ask, eyes fixed on the horizon, and I'd nod, spilling bits of my own wreckage. The ex who ghosted me after I wouldn't tone it down, for his Bible Belt folks, the job at the library that paid peanuts but let me hide in stacks of queer history books. He listened without flinching, clapping my shoulder with that big paw of his. World's full of assholes, man. But you're all right. Solid. By Kansas, the barriers cracked wider. We detoured to a nothing town for ribs that singed our taste buds, washing them down with craft IPAs under neon signs buzzing like fireflies. That's when I let slip the real reason for the trip. Not just escape, but pilgrimage. My grandma, the one who'd slipped me my first worn copy of Giovanni's Room with a wink and a keep it quiet sugar, had passed 6 months back. Her ashes were in a tin in my duffel, destined for scattering off Big Sur's cliffs. A queer boy's vow to a woman who'd seen him before he saw himself. Miles raised his bottle. To the ones who get it. Rare as hen's teeth. His gaze lingered a beat too long, or maybe I imagined it, the beer fuzzing the edges of caution. Illinois blurred into Missouri, humidity thick as unspoken words. We played Would You Rather to kill the hours. Would you rather fight a bear or a dozen ducks? And his answers painted him vivid. Loyal to a fault, allergic to bullshit, nursing a grudge against his own dad for bailing when he was 12. Left us high and dry. Mom waitress triple shifts. I joined up to pay the bills. Vulnerability like that from a guy who could snap me like a twig? It stirred something dangerous, a pull toward the uncharted. One night, parked at a Walmart lot in St. Louis, stars punching holes in the black velvet sky, he cracked open a flask of bourbon. Your turn, Isaiah. What's the one thing you'd change if you could rewind the tape? I hesitated, then admitted it. The years lost pretending, the love I denied myself for fear of shattering my family's fragile peace. He was quiet. Then, ain't no rewind, brother. But forward? That's where the good shit lives. His hand found my knee in the dark. Innocent, steadying. And I swear the cab temperature spiked 10 degrees. The tension simmered through the planes. A low boil under the banter. He'd tease me about my fancy Spotify cues. I'd rib him for singing off-key to Garth Brooks. But cracks showed. A radio host ranting about traditional values, and Miles switching stations quick, muttering, "Bunch of noise," or the way he'd stiffen when truckers at fuel stops eyed us too long, like we were some odd couple rolling incognito. I chalked it up to his military straight-edge vibe, but Hope's a sneaky bastard, whispering what-ifs in the quiet miles. Then Nebraska hit like a freight train. We'd pushed hard that day, chasing the sun across flatlands that mocked your sense of scale. When my phone buzzed, a text from my sister back home. Dad's asking about the trip. Told him you're with a buddy. Be careful out there. Be careful. Code for don't flaunt it. I laughed it off, but Miles caught the edge in my voice. Family drama? I shrugged. Then stupid, reckless vented. How coming out had fractured us. How I envied his easy heteronorm straight guy armor. You don't get it, Miles. The constant translation. Every joke, every glance. Am I safe here? He gripped the wheel tighter, jaw set. Safe? Man, life's a minefield for everybody. You think I don't watch my back? That's when it detonated. A semi roared past, horn blaring like Judgment Day, and in the adrenaline wash, I blurted it. The flutter, the brush of hands, the way his stories made me ache for more than miles between us. Miles, Shit, I think I'm falling for you. Or the idea of you. I don't know. The words hung, toxic as exhaust. His face drained of color, knuckles white. What the fuck, Isaiah? You think this is that? I'm straight, man. Straight as an arrow. You've been playing me this whole time. Denial first, then fury. A toxic cocktail brewed from his own buried shames, I later learned. The truck swerved as he punched the dash, glass from a forgotten coffee mug shattering, mirroring the cab's sudden war zone. He pulled over hard on a gravel shoulder, rain sheeting down like God's own wrath. Get out, he snarled. But I didn't move, pleading through the roar in my ears. It's not a game, Miles. It's real. You're real to me. That's when the misunderstanding metastasized into betrayal. In his panic, he snatched my phone. Meant to call for help, he later swore, and saw the text thread with my sister, the casual mentions of bar hookups in Cleveland, a grinder notification blinking like neon sin. Jesus Christ, you're out there trawling for dick while I'm hauling your ass? And now this? You think I'd? His voice broke. Not just anger, fear. The raw terror of a man who'd buried his own questions under layers of macho denial. The fight spilled out into the storm, thunder clapping like applause for our unraveling. I shoved him, he shoved back, and that's when his fist flew. Not full force, but enough to graze, enough to bloody. We froze, panting, the world narrowing to his wide eyes, my split lip. I didn't mean, he whispered, but the damage was arterial. Betrayal cut deepest not in the punch, but in the revelation it dragged kicking from him. His own college fling, a squad mate in basic training, hushed up and hated ever since. I ain't like that. Can't be. Lies we tell ourselves, sharp as shrapnel. He drove on in silence, dropping me at a motel in Lincoln, tires spinning mud as he peeled out with my duffel, and Grandma's ashes, still in the bed. 24 hours of hell followed. Hitching rides, dodging creeps, the road's anonymity turning cruel. I texted him everything. Apologies, rage, the aching truth that his walls weren't protection, just prisons. No reply. By dawn on day 5, I was in Denver, broken, staring at the Rockies like they held answers. But Miles? He circled back. Found me at a bus depot, truck idling like contrition, Ash's tin clutched in his fist. "I get it now," he said, voice gravel rough. "The runnin', the hidin', my old man. He knew about that thing in basic. Beat the questions out of me till I swore it never happened." Tears tracked his stubble, mixing with the altitude's chill. No grand declarations, no Hollywood kiss. Just two men, raw and reaching, sharing a thermos of gas station coffee on a bench. He handed back the tin. "Scatter 'em proper. For both of us." The rest of the drive west was quieter, laced with tentative bridges. We talked army ghosts and family fractures, the betrayal's scar tissue toughening into understanding. No romance bloomed, not like that, not yet, maybe never. But in the diners and detours, empathy took root. His respect for my unapologetic queerness, my grace for his halting steps toward self. By Big Sur, waves crashing like catharsis, we stood shoulder to shoulder, ashes swirling into the Pacific foam. "Thanks for the ride, partner," I said, and his grin, real, unarmored, lit the cliffside. Miles headed east from there, back to Tulsa's uncertainties, but we text still. Playlists swapped, check-ins like lifelines. He came out to his mom last month, small steps echoing mine. Me? I'm in San Francisco now, shelving books with a view of the bay, dating a barista who quotes Audre Lorde. The road didn't fix us, but it forged something rarer. Respect, hard-won and humanistic, reminding that understanding isn't a destination. It's the miles we choose to travel together, detours and all.